Hey guys, today I want to talk about Firebloom and Arcane Crystals because I'm sure many of you are asking yourselves, did Firebloom fail? Should I sell? I don't know what's going on here. And what do I think? And it didn't fail. I'm still buying everything under 20 silver, but my main point of failure was just not explaining the situation properly to you guys. I just said eventually without going into the actual mechanics behind it, and you guys deserve better than that. So today we're going to be doing a deep dive into what will happen with Firebloom in the next 6 months, at least the way I expect it to happen, and hopefully you guys will have a better idea on the best exit points so you can make your own decisions. As always, we are immediately going to start with supply and demand. What is happening right now? And what is going to happen in the future? We're also going to look at how other investors are going to act now and how they're going to act in the future, because this is equally as important. So what is supply now? It's actually still really healthy. There's plenty of people in Searing Gorge and Tanaris, but this is already starting to die down. There is no longer over 50 people in Searing Gorge at all times anymore, and this is something I've been watching. It's dipping down under 50 people. So we're already starting to see signs of supply dying, which is a good sign. What is happening with demand right now? It's almost dead. The only people buying Firebloom right now are other investors who have been told not to buy above 20 silver. So the price never goes above 20 silver. But what happens in the future? Supply completely dies, and I don't know when this happens, but there's going to be a time when Tanaris and Searing Gorge are completely devoid of life and nobody's turning in the unidentified plant part quest in Zangarmarsh. So I'm not talking about a slight decrease, I'm talking about the complete collapse of supply. And of course, once raiding takes off, demand will also go up. Actual demand this time, not demand from investors who have been told that anything above 20 silver is simply too expensive. Now, you're thinking, this should spike it up, right? But no, this is the most basic level of thinking, and we're going to take it a step further. It completely ignores the excess supply in the economy. So there is still so much Firebloom in the economy. Any increase in the price of Firebloom gets beaten down by investors who are happy to sell at 30 silver, for example. But since supply is dead, they eventually break. They can't hold it forever. And now the new sell point is 40 silver. And this holds for a while. But eventually, that gets eaten up as well, because remember, there's no new supply, and that eventually breaks. And it keeps going up. But why? Because the supply is dead. The item just gets more expensive. So don't expect a spike in price from this item, but a gradual increase. The water basically just keeps getting a little bit hotter, but only the tiniest amount at a time. But wait, I know some of you are thinking, there is an alternative to this consumable in the economy, and it's just a little bit worse. I know some of you are thinking this. So is demand for this really going to be that good? Because let's look at it. Superior Wizard Oil is much cheaper than Brilliant Wizard Oil currently, and most players won't care about a fractional DPS increase, especially when gold is so tight early. So long as Brilliant Wizard Oil is much more expensive than the alternative, the demand for Firebloom won't really be there, because only a small fraction of players are going to want it. But this does change if Brilliant Wizard Oil gets cheaper. See, once it becomes a competitive price with the worse version, or perhaps even cheaper, since Arcane Dust will always be linked to the price of the prismatic shards. Now, what will cause large Brilliant shards to go down? And this will. Paladins farming Stratholm. This is something I've been watching very closely to see if they're even going there, and every day there's gradually more players in here. Probably the strongest leading indicator for Firebloom actually moving is going to be the quantity of paladins in Stratholm. Now, I don't actually know if they have enchanting, because I have asked them and all of them have ignored me, but I'm sure some do. And if the paladins successfully crush the large Brilliant Shard market, now is when you can expect serious demand for Firebloom to kick in. Because suddenly it becomes the same price or cheaper than the alternative, so everyone uses it. And it's better than the alternative. So I'm not going to tell you when to sell or not, that's up to you to decide. But I do want to just explain my thoughts on the process to you. My own plan is just to keep holding it forever, because these are my favorite items. I don't need to play the game, I don't even need to be subbed, and it's going to be going in price over time. It just gets more expensive. So as long as the market keeps offering it up at 20 silver or less, I'm just going to keep taking everything. Now, I also want to talk about the Arcane Crystal. And I was wrong about this, but not for the reasons I thought. On the Night Slayer server, it's tripled in price, which is what I said. might happen. See, actually, it went down to 4 gold at one point, so if you perfectly timed the bottom, you almost 10 times your gold. Now let me explain here. I was wrong about this because I didn't understand what the main driver of demand for the item was going to be, the Paladin Epic Mount quest, which required 6. I also completely forgot that it was used in the Arcanite Rod for enchanters, enchanting is a very popular profession. So yeah, I was completely wrong here, and it was not to do with my risk assessment, but rather my knowledge of what the item was even used for. So do your own research, don't just listen to me. Actually, I may have been wrong about the risk on this too. It may have been a high success gamble, because it should have been obvious that everyone sold. Going forward, I'll be looking out for exactly these types of events, where it's obvious everyone holding sells, but the item is still needed later. So, in a way, I gained a little bit out of this. Okay, yep. I hope that gives greater insight on which items gain value over time. Thank you for listening.